Raymond Miller, 72, stood near the reception desk. His back remained straight, a habit from decades of discipline. He held a thin, neatly folded resume in his left hand. His eyes moved across the bright, open space, past glass walls and sleek, silver furniture. Young people, many with headphones, tapped quickly on keyboards, their faces illuminated by screens. A group of them laughed loudly by a coffee station, their voices sharp and quick. He felt the hum of the building, a different kind of energy than he was used to. A young woman with a headset sitting behind a polished desk looked up, her expression tired. "Next!" she called out, her voice flat. Ray stepped forward. He felt the weight of his years, not in his body, which was still strong, but in the way people looked past him. His shoes, polished to a shine, were old but well cared for, like everything he owned. He had spent the morning ironing his best shirt, making sure every crease was sharp. He wanted to show he was serious, that he cared about doing things right. He had seen an advertisement for a janitor position at Apex Technologies. It wasn't what he expected after a life of leading elite teams, but the quiet of his small home had become too much. He needed purpose, a mission, even if it was just keeping a building clean. He thought of the complex underwater machinery he used to fix, the lives that depended on his steady hands. He could still do that, but here, he just wanted to contribute. Ms. Chloe Davis, the hiring manager, appeared from a glass office. She wore stylish glasses and moved with a quick, impatient energy. She took his resume, barely glancing at the words. Her eyes went straight to his face, then back to the paper for only a second. "Mr. Miller," she began, her voice dismissive, "we're looking for someone with a lot of energy. This isn't just about cleaning. It's a very dynamic environment. We need someone who can really move, keep up with a fast pace." Ray met her gaze, his own eyes steady. "Ma'am," he replied, his voice calm, carrying a quiet authority, "I've moved with purpose under pressure you can't imagine. My attention to detail is unmatched, and I've never left a job unfinished. I always finish what I start." Chloe scoffed, a small, humorless sound. She glanced quickly at a young assistant standing nearby, who snickered, covering his mouth. "Right. Well, Mr. Miller, this isn't the Navy. We need people who can keep up with the tech pace, not the trench pace. Thank you for your time." Ray simply nodded once. He took his resume back, folding it with precise, practiced movements. He turned and walked towards the exit, his back straight, shoulders squared. The automatic glass doors slid open with a soft whoosh, then closed behind him, a quiet final sound. He felt a familiar ache, a quiet bruise, not from their words, but from their blindness to what he offered. Raymond sat at a small, round table in The Daily Grind, a coffee shop across the street. He held a chipped white mug, his fingers wrapped around the warm ceramic. His gaze was fixed on the large window, looking towards the gleaming Apex Technologies building. His resume lay beside his coffee, folded precisely, a silent witness to the morning's encounter. Martha, the barista, a woman with kind eyes and a friendly smile, approached his table with a coffee pot. "No luck at Apex, honey?" Martha asked softly, topping off his cup. Raymond shook his head slightly. "They said I was too slow for their dynamic environment." His voice held no bitterness, just a simple statement of fact. Martha frowned, the creases around her eyes deepening. "Those kids, they wouldn't know real strength if it wore a name tag, would they?" She walked away, shaking her head. Back at Apex Technologies, the laughter continued. "Did you see those old school shoes? Probably thinks cloud computing is about the weather," one young employee, Chloe's assistant, joked, mimicking a hunched-over walk. Another, a cashier, added, "Next he'll be asking for a military discount for the job interview." Fresh laughter erupted from the group. Liam, a junior programmer, sat at his desk, typing code. He heard the jokes. He felt a knot tighten in his stomach. He didn't join in. He was a Navy reservist, just starting his service, and the mockery made him deeply uncomfortable. He remembered the quiet dignity of the old man, the way he stood, the calm in his voice. It reminded him of the senior officers he looked up to. Later, after his shift, Liam couldn't shake the feeling. He pulled out his phone. He typed Command Master Chief Raymond Miller into a search engine. His thumb hovered over the search button, then he pressed it. His eyes widened. His jaw physically dropped. Article after article filled the screen. Master Chief Miller, hero of the USS Scorpion rescue, decorated diver led historic submarine salvage, Miller's leadership credited with saving dozens in Pacific disaster. Photos appeared. A younger Ray, in uniform, surrounded by medals, leading teams through incredible, dangerous operations. Liam scrolled, his heart pounding. He saw a man who had faced unimaginable pressure, saved lives, and commanded respect. He immediately took several screenshots. He opened a popular online forum, a private group for veterans and military enthusiasts. He typed quickly, his fingers flying across the screen. This living legend, Command Master Chief Ray Miller, just applied for a janitor job at my company, and my manager mocked him out. What have we become? He attached the screenshots. He hit post. The replies started almost instantly. Disgraceful. That's Master Chief Miller, a true American hero. Apex Technologies should be ashamed. This man deserves respect, not ridicule. The comments flooded in, a torrent of outrage and support. The post was shared, and shared again. It spread like wildfire across veteran networks nationwide, reaching thousands, then tens of thousands. The digital outcry grew into a roar, catching the attention of powerful individuals, including those who once served alongside Ray. The peaceful hum of the corporate park was violently interrupted. A black SUV with tinted windows roared down the street, its tires screeching to an authoritative halt directly in front of Apex Technologies. The sound turned heads in every nearby office building. The driver's door opened, and Vice Admiral Anna Reed stepped out. Her 3 stars on her shoulder gleamed in the sunlight. Her formal dress uniform was pressed perfectly, every medal on her chest catching the light. She moved with a measured, powerful stride, a woman who commanded respect without a single word. She walked into the lobby of Apex Technologies. The bustling office fell silent. Conversations died mid-sentence. Employees who had been laughing moments before froze. Customers stopped talking. All eyes were on the high-ranking military officer who had just entered their modern, glass-walled world. Admiral Reed's gaze swept across the room, taking in the stunned faces. "Who?" Admiral Reed asked, her voice quiet but clear, reaching every corner of the suddenly silent space. "Told Command Master Chief Raymond Miller that he wasn't good enough to sweep floors in this establishment." Ms. Chloe Davis, the hiring manager, felt her face go pale. Her confident posture sagged. She stammered, I didn't know who he was, Admiral. We just need people who can move quickly. A dynamic environment." Admiral Reed's eyes narrowed. Her tone remained level, but an icy edge entered her voice. "Exactly. You never asked. You never bothered to find out that the old man you dismissed has moved more efficiently under life or death pressure than most people here do in a lifetime of peace." She turned slightly, her gaze sweeping across the entire staff. "That man carried me 2 miles through active combat after our vehicle hit an IED. He then returned under fire to pull out 2 more soldiers before the vehicle exploded. He has led over 200 men in conditions you cannot imagine, with a calm efficiency that saved countless lives. And you." Her eyes returned to Chloe, who was now visibly trembling. "You laughed at him." Admiral Reed's gaze then found Liam, who stood respectfully at attention behind a counter. "Thank you, Petty Officer," she said, her voice softening slightly, "for doing what your supervisor couldn't, recognizing greatness when it stands before you, regardless of its age. Without waiting for a response, she turned and walked out of the store. The glass doors slid shut behind her, leaving a silence heavy with shame and a sudden, profound realization. The employees stared at each other, their faces etched with regret. Admiral Reed found Raymond at the daily grind, finishing his second cup of coffee. He sat quietly, his gaze distant, lost in thought. "You always did walk away too quietly, Master Chief," Admiral Reed said, sliding into the booth across from him. Raymond looked up, surprise briefly crossing his face, before a small smile touched his lips. "Didn't think you'd come marching in for a janitor, Admiral." "You marched for me for 35 years, Ray," Admiral Reed replied simply. "Now it's my turn." She slid a sleek, official-looking folder across the worn tabletop. Inside were documents. Raymond opened the folder, his eyes scanning the words. It was an offer. Director of Veteran Integration and Workforce Development for a major national defense contractor. Full pay, full benefits. It was a chance to use his decades of leadership, his problem-solving skills, his ability to build and lead teams in a way that truly mattered, far beyond any battlefield. Raymond looked up from the folder, his weathered hands resting on the papers. "I didn't expect this, ma'am." "The best men never do, Master Chief," Reed said, her voice firm. "That's what makes it right." The story hit national news within hours. Veterans across the country commented, "That's how you honor service, experience over youth every time." Some leaders, like Master Chief Miller, age like fine wine. The comments flooded social media. Apex Technologies posted a public apology the next day. Their statement read that Ms. Chloe Davis, the manager, had decided to resign to pursue other opportunities. 6 months later, Raymond stood in front of 150 young professionals and transitioning service members. They were gathered at the newly established Miller Leadership Institute, a program he had designed himself. His voice was soft, but it carried the undeniable weight of hard-earned wisdom. "They told me I was too slow," he said, looking across the sea of attentive faces. "The truth is, I move at the speed of purpose. Speed without direction is just wasted motion." The room erupted in spontaneous applause. Young men and women, aspiring leaders, recognized in his weathered face the qualities they sought to embody. Under Raymond's guidance, the Miller Leadership Institute developed into a national model. It focused on hiring veterans, not just for their physical abilities, but for the intangible qualities forged in service. Resilience, adaptability, unwavering integrity, and the steady judgment that only comes through vast experience. Raymond never sought revenge against those who had dismissed him. He understood that true leadership isn't about settling scores, it's about setting examples. And now, every time a new recruit or corporate partner walks through the Institute's doors, they are greeted by a framed quote above the entrance. "This place runs on wisdom forged by experience. Move with it, or get out of the way." In the end, Raymond Miller found more than a job. He found his ultimate mission. He ensured that no veteran's value would ever again be measured by their age, but by the profound depth of wisdom that only time and trials can create.